In 2017, a total solar eclipse was witnessed by about 20 million people from Oregon to South Carolina. And because of what they saw, the beauty of the sun's corona hanging in a suddenly darkened sky, many millions more now know that a total solar eclipse is something truly worth seeing. This year, 99% of the country will be able to see a partial or total eclipse from where they live. And if you live in Northeast Indiana, you also live near some great guides to the galaxies, as well as to this Monday's total solar eclipse, as we welcome two members from the Fort Wayne Astronomical Society to this week's Primetime. Good evening, I'm Bruce Haines. With us is Gene Stringer. He's a retired senior staff engineer from Magnavox, a member of the Fort Wayne Astronomical Society since 1966, held a number of offices with the organization, and he served as project engineer for the StarQuest project since its inception in 2006. We'll talk more about that as we go. And along with Gene is Laura Ainslie, also a member of the Society since 1987. Also a multiple office holder. She currently serves with her husband Neil and son Russell as co-directors of the StarQuest Observatory. And as we welcome them, we welcome you. Join us with your questions and comments. The solar eclipse is coming. Call the number on the screen. And we're all about all things solar eclipse and also how to enjoy it safely. And if you wish to do it from inside the comfort of your own home, we can also tell you that PBS Fort Wayne will be joining NASA for live coverage of the solar eclipse Monday starting at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock to 5, so the whole experience to the best of our consent to grasp what's happening in the skies above us. NASA coverage of the solar eclipse on PBS Fort Wayne this Monday starting at 1. Meanwhile, Laura and Gene, welcome both to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a big party.
Yes.
It is.
It's a big party being planned.
I'm going to be in Bluffton. I've started calling it Woodstock on the Wabash.
There you go. Soon to be yet another T-shirt, as in Gene has his T-shirt there also.
Yeah, a gift.
The exit through the gift shop. You can find that as you go along. But one of the things that's also worth circling on your notes as we move through the time is that the Fort Wayne Astronomical Society has been with us for more than 70 years, according to some who've been keeping track. Tell us a little bit about the Society and how it all came to be. What do you do?
Well, the Astronomical Society is a not-for-profit organization. It was founded and incorporated in 1959 with about 60 founding members. Our mission is to promote in every way among its members and the public an interest in and a knowledge of astronomy and its allied sciences. Now, the members are encouraged to own their own telescopes and other astronomical equipment and to be involved in published works about astronomy and to render assistance to individuals and organizations working in the same or similar fields. Our current membership fluctuates between 50 and 150 members.
Okay. Yeah, we've always been an all-volunteer organization. We keep our budget small so that we can offer our services to our visitors and we don't need to charge, which is helpful, honestly. Our board members are volunteers. We meet monthly, and also our officers are volunteers. As observatory directors, I'm a volunteer and I love it. No paid staff. We hold public education programs monthly, usually at Purdue Fort Wayne. And well, what about the Observatory?
Well, we mentioned StarQuest in the open, and Gene, it sounds like a wonderful thing that people should do a mini pilgrimage to see StarQuest all by itself. Tell me about it.
Well, in September of 2006, we began that project. The purpose was to survey what we've been doing for the past 50 years and see if we could upgrade our facilities, equipment, and our approach to the public for the next 50 years. So under that project, we moved from Fox Island Park, which was out west of town, to our present location at Jefferson Township Park. That's east of New Haven, out the Dawkins Road. It's in, it began operation, by the way, in May of 2017.
Yeah. At the StarQuest Observatory, we offer free stargazing to the public every clear Saturday night, starting 1 hour after sunset for 2 hours. Our first night will be, it has to be clear, let me state. We start the first weekend of April and run through the last weekend of November. And we'll be open this particular Saturday, tomorrow night. Even if it's cloudy, for this event, we'll be open because people may have questions. You can come and ask us in person. And besides that, we offer stargazing programs and other presentations at other people's sites. You can just make an appointment, set up a time, and we can come.
And we will be sharing additional contact information. We'll put the graphic up again about how you can find StarQuest. And you're right about folks having questions, because not only about
we already have one.
We already have one. And let's go to the telephones and welcome Nathan to the broadcast. Nathan, go ahead with your question, sir.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about the danger to your eyes from looking at the eclipse, but
Right.
I also remember that President Trump looked right at the eclipse the last time around. So I'm just wondering, what exactly, I'm not sure who to believe, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
Go ahead.
It's a good time. You've
You
got
can
some
look-
examples here.
You may as well.
You can look directly at the sun in mid-eclipse because the sun is covered completely by the moon,
If you have totality.
if you have totality. Otherwise, you dare not look directly at the sun. Your eye, it's like a burning glass, and it will burn your retina. Now, your eye has remarkable capability to repair itself with scratches and things like that on the surface, but the retina will not rejuvenate. You will be blind in that spot for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And we were saying ourselves, too, that this is not just an eclipse thing, right?
That's
right.
correct. Yeah. I mean, you don't look at the sun anytime. You don't want to look at the sun anytime. There's nothing special about the eclipse part. It's just that during an eclipse, people want to look at the sun. People normally don't want to look at the sun because it's bright and it hurts.
And
So
in fact,
there you go.
Right, and now for the longest time, there have been, and Gene, maybe you want to model one of these, or at least hold one up to the camera so the folks can see them, and maybe you now have a few of these, but believe it or not, something as straightforward as the film, and it's all about the special film, right?
Correct.
It is, and it has to be, there are some bogus ones out there, so you have to be careful from whom you buy and make sure that you check it to see who made it. And there are certified glasses. Also, if you've used it in 2017 and you want to use it again, fine, but check it for pinholes and scratches and set it aside if you see any.
Yeah. You might want to tell them how to check it.
Yeah, hold it up and look to see if you see any light, bright spots coming through.
And the other concern, I think, that maybe, Nathan, you hear is you don't have to wear protective eyewear during totality. Who makes that call? So it seems like caution may still be the better part of wisdom here. Yeah?
Well,
Yeah.
there is a bag of worms open there because everyone knows when to take the glasses off. It got dark. You just don't know when the sun's coming back.
Right.
You don't know the time unless you know where you are. And there are apps that can,
For your cell phone.
that can help you with the timing depending upon where you are.
So as we go through the rest of the program, Nathan, stay with us because there are some other options for watching the eclipse in a safe manner. But again, the big takeaway, looking directly at the sun, never a great idea. As we move through it, of course, wanting to be able to experience this in a personal way, Indiana and Ohio are going to be two of the many states that will be hosting this eclipse as it moves through. Will Fort Wayne see totality?
Unfortunately, no. Fort Wayne is one of the. There are a number of cities in the United States that are just on the edge of totality, but just aren't quite there. And in 2017, Evansville was in the same boat. They had 99%, what they called 99% totality. And, well, yeah, unfortunately, there's no such thing as 99% totality. It's either totality or it's not. 100% has to be totality. Anyway.
And in fact, we're seeing here, this came from the Department of Homeland Security just out in the last day or so. You can literally see the roadmap across, and then so life on either side of that, as you move out, is going to be partial.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah, the gray is partial.
And when we also then look, Gene, too, for Fort Wayne and out by StarQuest, what is the predicted amount of dark that we're looking at? It's really going to be and gone, right?
It has been revised. Right now, we're thinking it's between 35 seconds and
35 and 45,
and 45 seconds.
And
35
here is,
to 45.
And here is that updated graphic that shows, in fact, the whole process of the eclipse, though. This is a good graphic to stay with, if nothing else, to suggest how much overall time this eclipse will take.
Yes. If you're going to do photography, you've got to get to the center. But there are many people who will not, or don't care to, or for other reasons can't. They can't travel. That's where the StarQuest Observatory comes in. You can see totality, but you can't. There's no time for you to set up and take photographs. But guess what? Are there going to be photographs on the internet afterwards? You better believe it.
And in
This is
fact,
true.
I think NASA's taking a few of them while they get the chance, and a whole
Yes.
bunch of others are going along.
And there'll be some great amateur shots.
Yes, very much so. Nick has an offline question for you both. Even with a total eclipse, can you take your glasses off when it is fully hidden?
And the answer to
Yes.
that is you have to take your glasses off when it's total eclipse if you want to see the sun.
There is a misnomer traveling through the literature warning about this, a statement saying, put your glasses on and you can see the total from beginning to end eclipse. That is a false statement.
No.
It's a false statement. You have to take them off to see, but then you have to put them on before totality ends.
And in fact, let's get to this particular section, starting with the telescopes, but it all follows under the question of what are some ways we can watch this eclipse safely. And we talked a little bit about the glasses and checking for pinholes and scratches. Laura, there's a telescope in the room. Tell me about that.
Yes, there is.
And it's going to pop up on the screen here any second now.
Okay.
There it is.
This is actually Gene's scope. I should probably let him talk about it.
Please.
Well, yeah, you never want to point a telescope at the sun unless it has
An ordinary telescope.
an ordinary telescope, unless it has something that covers the full aperture of your telescope up front, not at the eyepiece, up front. But there are telescopes that are specifically made to look at the sun, and they have a special filter in them, a hydrogen alpha filter. That lets you see things that you can't see with a white light, a regular telescope. With the hydrogen alpha, you can see the enormous and convoluted surface of the sun, prominences, phages, and the excitement going on around sunspots. It's terrific. But it has to be, when you see on the images of the eclipse that shows prominences coming off the side of the limb of the sun, that can only be done with a hydrogen alpha filter.
Laura, there's another old school approach apparently called eyepiece projection?
Yes, yes. Eyepiece projection, and yeah, it's very old school. Unfortunately, this was big in the 60s before the filters that go over the front of the telescope were widely available. And basically, you shoot the sun through the scope and hope nothing catches fire.
So that's probably why it's been retired.
Yeah, mostly. Yes.
We have several others, and I would like to be sure we at least touch on them as time is moving forward.
Right.
But pinhole types, there are several ways to look at this. Let's put a few of those up on the screen as we go.
Now, the classic that a lot of us older people have seen when we were in school. Yes, we'll start with this. In the shade of shade trees, oftentimes during an eclipse, you can see the shapes of the sun being projected by gaps between the leaves. Unfortunately, this is April in Indiana. We're not going to see that, unfortunately, unless you've got a plastic tree in your front yard or something. I don't think that's going to happen. Now, we can also, I call this the waffle fry. Basically, you take your fingers, spread them out and across each other. And as you can see, the spots of light coming through are crescent-shaped. But in this case, even the images of the fingers are becoming crescent-shaped. It's interesting. Okay. Then we have shoebox cameras. That's the thing I was driving at in the first place. Basically, you cut two holes, you put tinfoil over one and put a pinhole in it, and then an image forms on the back of the box. Easy peasy.
We have been talking about totality and, again, with the naked eye and just extreme caution exercise. Somebody should be chaperoning a crowd saying, okay,
especially with kids.
Put your, yes, as engaging as that photograph in this particular image can be. But then we get to the image itself, describing the corona and what it is that people see and what everyone is waiting for. Gene, tell us what it is about this that just fascinates astronomers and non-astronomers alike. As we're seeing the image right there on the screen, you said
I see.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a shot that I took down at Clemson University in 2017. And it is the classic shot of an eclipse. And this corona that you see about the sun and moon together is about 1 million times fainter than the photosphere of the sun itself. So that's why you are able to see it just like it's nighttime. Yeah. It looks spectacular, but it can't compare with seeing it live.
Wow.
That's true.
Yeah, and you've seen your fair share as well.
Yeah, I've seen one total eclipse, and I sure hope to see a second.
And when this happens, I'm seeing references to things called solar maximum. The magnetic field is like a tangled hairball. Streamers of energy will be visible in the corona if we're so fortunate because of the way life plays out this year. It poses a lot of excitement.
There's an interesting image on today's astronomy picture of the day, where they show they compare the corona from 2017 with the corona from last year, and they're totally different. It's neat.
In the moments we have, I do want to share a couple of these slides under the notion of being prepared, and we've been hearing a lot about this as well. So let's go to the next one if we could, so that we can talk about tip 3. There we go.
Yeah.
Make a list and check it twice.
Correct. Okay, yeah, make a list and check it twice. Pack your vehicle as much as you can the night before. Allow extra time to get where you're going, because everybody talks about the traffic jams leaving totality, but there's traffic jams getting there in the first place. And yeah, and also plan to get there early as you can.
And if you're traveling to or from large gatherings, like down to Indianapolis, to the they can handle a lot of things there at the Speedway, but you've got different things to worry about. Fill your gas tank, because the gas stations along the interstates are likely to be pumped dry. Take food and water. Take cash, because they may not be able to process your credit card if the internet goes down. And then plan an alternate egress route that avoids interstates for at least 25 miles, if you can.
Yeah, and these are only the highlights. There's there are plenty more things on the Department of Homeland Security, the Indiana website.
And you mentioned too, we should touch on this briefly, that even if the skies are a little bit cloudy during the day, don't give up, right?
Don't give up. That's Gene. That's Gene's story.
Yeah, the story is, I was down in South Georgia in 1972 with my spouse, and we were trying to outrace the clouds, running through the back roads in Georgia.
Oh,
and
dear.
we came to this hamlet that the high school yard was filled with telescopes and some very disappointed people looking at the sky because it was overcast. But we couldn't outrace, so we said, we'll join them. And we did. But looking to the southwest, in a clear sky, you can't see that shadow coming. But we could see it through the clouds, traveling at Mach 3. And it's over top of you. It gets dark as night, streetlights come on, roosters crow, dogs bark, and the temperature drops. It was awesome. And then the light came back on. It's an event that I carried for decades afterwards until I could see an eclipse in the clear. So even under clouds, it's an awesome aspect. So if you're going to, if you can't travel, and if your job keeps you here in Fort Wayne, come out to the StarQuest Observatory. We'll see an awesome event, whether it's cloudy or clear.
Yeah.
Don't write it off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll have various ways that around that you can look at the eclipse for yourself, and we'll have internet. Hopefully, we'll have internet connectivity, so we can have displays from other sites as well, so you can see more totality than the 35 or 45 seconds that we'll have there. And yeah, don't plan for photography, but if it's clear, I sure hope it's clear, because the edge effects should be spectacular.
Do we have a moment more?
We have just about half a moment more. Go ahead.
Well, the story's too long then.
Okay.
Let me do this.
Oh,
Please.
rats.
The cosmos, we are part of the sky. The cosmos is reaching down with a finger to touch you personally. You are part of it. Don't miss it.
And that's how it feels too.
Yeah, this is
honestly.
It certainly is a once in the rest of my lifetime moment, and you really want.
It's a once in multiple lifetimes moment. On average, it's about 330 years between eclipses. We're fortunate that the next one is only going to be 75. It's 2099. is the next one in
And
this
I
area.
think many of us may be otherwise occupied. So
I think so too.
want to see where we're going.
Yeah.
Let's put the information up again, the roadmap to show you how to get to the StarQuest location. That's stargazing at Jefferson Township Park. There is the contact information for the website and the phone number, but Alan, if you can find it, there it is. Thank you, sir. There it is. The public observing every clear Saturday night. Try this weekend, for example. It's April. You're allowed. On behalf of everybody, I hope you have a happy total solar eclipse. I never found any greeting cards.
Yeah.
We want to thank Laura Ainslie. We want to thank Gene Stringer. We want to thank you. Be careful out there. Have a lot of fun. Remember PBS Fort Wayne's live coverage with NASA for the total solar eclipse Monday afternoon, 1 o'clock, right here on PBS Fort Wayne. I'm Bruce Haines. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. Good night.